Hi readers, I'm Annie. We are back with another TBR video. We are about to hit spooky season and I couldn't be more excited. Honestly, I am a summer girly, but when it comes time to spooky season, I'm 100% here for it. If only it was just a little bit warmer, I'd be a little bit happier. So the last couple of months I have been doing my TBR with the TBR jar, and whilst the TBR jar has been loving me and giving me some amazing reads and some amazing picks, there are just a few things that I just really wanted to specifically read this month. So I've put the TBR jar to one side and I'm literally just going with free picks. I just really want to like lean into my mood reading, just like really feel what I'm feeling, go with the spooky vibes, just like go with what feels right. And I do have a couple of reading vlogs planned. There are a few things that I really needed to make sure we're in this TBR, which is why I'm just going with what we're going with. So the first thing on the TBR is something that hasn't actually quite arrived yet. I have Percy Jackson and the Wrath of the Triple Goddess. I am waiting on my special edition to arrive. It was released the other day. It's meant to be arriving literally any day now, so I'm just like, you know, very impatiently waiting as I normally do. Tell me, you guys, is it just my Waterstones that doesn't do click and collect anymore? Because that doesn't seem to be a thing. Like, is that just me? Does Waterstones just hate me? I have no idea, but I'm waiting on that to be delivered because I got the special edition of the last one, so of course, you guys know I had to get it all to match because the bookshelves do not match enough as it is, so I've got to do my best to make it do. Percy Jackson has saved the world multiple times, battling monsters, titans, and even death himself. So graduating high school should be a breeze, right? Wrong. Percy needs 3 recommendation letters from the gods before his final year at high school comes to an end. And one thing Percy knows, the gods of Mount Olympus don't do anything for free. To secure his second letter, Percy and his friends Annabeth and Grover agree to a new quest. Pest sitting for the goddess Hecate while she's away over Halloween. They just need to follow her simple rules. 1. Look after the pets like their lives depend on it, because they do. 2. Don't touch anything, especially Hecate's magic potions. 3. See points 1 and 2. But when Grover's curiosity gets the better of him, the trio find themselves with a giant goat, a destroyed house, and Hecate's terrifying and potentially deadly pets on the loose in New York City. Now the trio have 24 hours to find the pets and restore the mansion to order, or face the full fury of Hecate and her horrifying 3 heads. Okay, is there anything that is more perfect for spooky season other than Hecate, the goddess of magic? It's all based over Halloween. Everything is going wrong for our favorite trio. Like, it's just so perfect. So I am quite happy waiting a few more days for this to arrive because it's just gonna be literally perfect. Like, I'm just so excited, I can't wait. Speaking of witches, we have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I am really excited for this one. This just gives me like full cozy vibes. I know I spoke about this recently in a haul video, so I'll give you guys the basic gist of it. Mika Moon follows 3 rules. Hide your magic, keep your head down, and stay away from other witches. Mika is good at being alone and she doesn't mind it, mostly. But when she's invited to teach 3 young witches at the mysterious Nowhere house, Mika jumps at the chance for a different life, and she comes to care for its quirky inhabitants. And Jamie, the handsome but prickly librarian, belonging somewhere feels like a real possibility. But magic isn't the only danger in the world. Is it worth risking everything to protect the found family Mika didn't know she was looking for? This, I feel, is gonna be just like cute, cozy, like curl up with a tea and a blanket and just like have a good time. It's gonna have that like mystical element to it. It doesn't like specifically say that it's based in like sort of like fall, autumn time or even anything to do with Halloween. But let's be honest, what does this cover give me if not full vibes? Like on the back you've got a couple of leaves that kind of give like autumny vibes, a sort of like yellowy, greeny, browny. Like just the color scheme in general just like feels perfect, and that's all I really want. Next up we've got Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I read Ninth House quite a while ago now, and I know this has been on and off of my active TBR for a little while, but I feel like this is the right time to be reading it. So we're following on from everything that happened in Ninth House, so if you haven't read that, do go read that. I'll do my best to not spoil anything too far, but essentially there was a whole load of stuff that kicked off at the end of Ninth House. So we're back at the university, we're back with Alex. We're like, I love this map. Like, okay, honestly, I didn't reference this like at all, but I love this map. Like, it's beautiful, it's so detailed, it's got like little numbers and then like a key at the bottom. I just think it's fabulous because like we don't quite often get maps of like residential areas. It's just like usually like well mapped, but I love this. And it's got this like very sort of like gothic dark academia themes in it. There's like demons and things, so I kind of don't really remember a huge amount of what happened in Ninth House, but at the same time I'm not like too worried. So again, we've got some little like excerpts from Memorial Inscription Entrance to Sterling Library. In the last book we had just like little excerpts from someone's diary, a little bit like this. I think this isn't quite from someone's diary, but it's like again giving that kind of vibe of like it gives like a little bit of background and stuff. And of course I have this really nice read edge, and I feel like this is going to be the month of reading special editions, so we're just going to keep going. And honestly, if a fantasy thriller is not the vibe for October, then when else am I meant to read this? Now the next one kind of fits along the same kind of vibes of being sort of like dark, almost thrillery-esque, but we've got Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. I have tried reading this before and I did DNF it at 20%. Honestly, I thought that was going to be a hard DNF and I was never going to pick this up again, but there is something about this that just like makes me feel like perhaps I was missing the point. I'm kind of confused by this book. So when you look on Amazon itself, the rating is a 4.4 stars at 112,000 odd, right? So it's pretty highly rated. And when you look on Goodreads, the rating is 3.96 at 566,000 ratings. So there's a lot of ratings on this. It's actually pretty highly rated. And when you look at the breakdown, 43% of people have rated it 5-star. However, when I speak to people, everyone says they hated it and it was awful and they didn't like anything about it and it was just like creepy and it was just like so off and there was just like something really weird about it. And I kind of felt that the first time I read it and I was like, no, this is just like way not for me. Like no way in hell do I even want to like touch this with a barge pole, and yet here we are again. I am very much an advocate for there is a right time for every single book, and part of me does kind of wonder if maybe it was the wrong time for that kind of book. And I feel like with it being spooky season, with everything being kind of creepy, with from what I remember of the first 20% it being kind of creepy, I feel like it's going to be the right time for it. I am going to be doing a reading vlog on it, so if you are interested, every single tiny little thought I have, then do subscribe, hit the notification bell, because I am going to be doing a reading vlog and I'm going to be spilling all the tea. I can manipulate the emotions of anyone who lets me. I will make you hurt, make you cry, make you laugh and sigh, but my words don't affect him, especially not when I plead for him to leave. He's always there, watching and waiting, and I can never look away, not when I want him to come closer. I didn't mean to fall in love, but now that I have, I can't stay away. I'm mesmerized by her smile, by her eyes, and the way she moves, the way she undresses. I'll keep watching and waiting until I can make her mine, and once she is, I'll never let her go, not even when she begs me to. So it does say, while not required, it is highly suggested to read the novella Satan's Affair first. Honestly, no, I really don't want to. There's more. Where's Molly? I don't think I want to know where Molly is. There is a whole load of trigger warnings for this that I will be going over in that vlog. I do kind of roughly know what's in this. If you are vaguely interested in reading this, please, if you never check out trigger warnings, please check out these ones, because like these trigger warnings ain't playing around, okay? Next up we've got Quicksilver by Callie Hart. You guys know I had to put in something that was going to be like a little bit more along my regular line of reading of just this like romantasy, enemies to lovers, kind of cute, fae, like all this kind of vibe. I feel like it's going to be this, but also I don't know what it is. I do kind of get the feeling of we're going to get like a very broody MMC, and I'm like, I'm here for it. I feel like I've heard a lot of people pick this up and then I've been like very much like skipping through what they're thinking, because I feel like this is one where I really do need to go into this as blind as possible. So I've read the blurb and that is like basically all I know about this, because I've been avoiding everyone's reviews. Do not touch the sword, do not turn the key, do not open the gate. In the land of the unforgiving desert, there isn't much a girl wouldn't do for a glass of water. 24-year-old Saris Fane is good at keeping secrets. No one knows about the strange powers she possesses or the fact that she's been picking pockets and stealing from the Undying Queen's reservoirs for as long as she can remember. But a secret is like a knot. Sooner or later, it's bound to come undone. When Ceres comes face to face with death himself and she inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported to a land of ice and snow, the Fae have always been the stuff of myth, legends, of nightmares. But it turns out they're real, and Ceres has landed herself in the middle of centuries-long conflict that might get her killed. The first of her kind to tread the frozen mountains of Yavela in over 1,000 years, Ceres mistakenly binds herself to Kingfisher, a handsome Fae warrior who has secrets and a nefarious agenda of his own. He will use her alchemist magic to protect his people, no matter what it costs him or her. Death has a name. It's Kingfisher of the Aegean Gate. His past is murky, his attitude stings, and he's the only way Ceres is going to make it home. Be careful of the deals you make, dear child. The devil is in the details. What's really interesting is like every single book that is adult says 18 plus, and yet this says is therefore recommended for readers 17 plus. We're just gonna add another year onto that. We're gonna go with 18 plus. I kind of don't really quite know what else to say about this. It feels like it's gonna be like very typical fae human. It's great that she's got magic, if it's like this sort of like alchemically kind of thing. Yeah, so she's got alchemist magic. That could be a really interesting add to this. I don't quite know how I feel about the name Kingfisher, but we'll see how it goes. It could fit. We'll see. We're gonna vibe with it. You guys know I've spoken a little bit about Erin A. Craig in the past because I read House of Salt and Sorrows, which is the first one before this, and I also recently read Small Favours, and it was one that I soft DNF'd, re-picked back up, and absolutely loved it. So I'm really excited to read this newest book from her. So this is House of Roots and Ruin. It follows on from House of Salt and Sorrows, which is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. And in all honesty, the 12 Dancing Princesses is not a story I know. Small Favours is sort of loosely based around Rumpelstiltskin. Again, a story I don't really know. I think because I've never really had like a huge particular interest in sort of like thrillery horror stuff, but there is something about the way that Erin A. Craig writes that is just like so addicting, so perfect. The imagery is like absolutely on point whilst also not being like so far that like I'm like genuinely terrified. So this is like perfect for me, honestly. And with the way this carries on, with everything that happened in House of Salt and Sorrows, I really don't want to spoil it for you guys, but that is something you absolutely definitely need to read because it is like beyond perfection. And I'm really excited for this because literally I remember getting to the end of that and being like, wait, what do you mean it's done? What do you mean we are done? Like, I was like not ready to leave that world. I was not ready to leave any of those sisters. Like, no. And so I'm so excited that we're getting this. I've got no idea if this is going to continue, but if she keeps writing in this world, I mean, to be fair, anything she writes, I'm gonna be picking up straight away. Like, Erin has very quickly become an absolute must-buy author for me, even though this kind of like thrillery, horror-y-esque stuff is not really my vibe. Erin is my vibe. In A Manor by the Sea, one sister is still cursed. Despite dreams of adventures far beyond the Salon shores, 18-year-old Verity Thormus has remained at her family's estate, Highmoor, with her older sister Camille, while the rest of the family has scattered across Arcania. When Verity receives word that the Duchess of Bolam, wife of a celebrated botanist, is interested in having Verity paint a portrait of her son Alexander, Verity jumps at the chance, but Camille won't allow it. Forced to reveal the secret she's kept for years, Camille tells Verity the truth one day. Haunted by tragic childhood events, Verity is still seeing ghosts, she just doesn't know it. Stunned, Verity flees Highmoor that night and with nowhere else to turn makes her way to Bloem. At first she's captivated by the lush, verdant landscape and is quickly drawn into the charming, witty and impossibly handsome Alexander Laurent. To her surprise, a romance blossoms. But it's not long before Verity is plagued with nightmares and the darker side of Bloem begins to show through its sickly sweet facade. Oh my god, I literally want to read this straight away. I'm obsessed. Like, just everything about the way that Erin writes, like, has you questioning everything. Like, reading Small Favours recently, I was questioning every single character. I was like, I don't know if I trust you. I don't know if I hate you. I don't know how I feel about you. And I feel like this is going to be very much the same. I'm so excited. And of course, it is this beautifully floppy paperback. I don't know what it is, but her books are always these beautifully floppy paperbacks and I'm obsessed. Let's move on to something a little bit sweeter, a little bit calmer, something to just break up the amount of horror and creepiness that I feel that I have created for myself here. We've got Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is the latest in the Maple Hills series. I rated Icebreaker 5 stars and then Wildfire I really didn't enjoy. I think I rated it 3 stars at the end. So you've got Icebreaker, which is very much set in the university. You've got these two ice skaters. Wildfire, you've got one of the hockey guys and then this girl that he has a one-night stand with, and they go to this like kids summer camp and they're counselors, and I was like, this is really not the vibe that I was expecting or wanted, and I just wasn't really here for it. It just wasn't really for me. But we are back at the university. We are back with Henry, who is now captain of the hockey team, and we've also got Hallie, who I think is going to tutor him to help. Yeah, so she helps him pass his classes. So we got a little bit of tutee. I just feel like it's going to be perfect. He also ends up acting a little bit as her muse use because she is an aspiring author. Just look at them on the cover, like they are so cute, they are so perfect together, like I just feel like they fit. Henry was like absolute 100% my favorite from book one. I was like, I want his story so bad, and I'm so excited that we're getting it. I got this beautiful sprayed edge. As much as I love sprayed edges, they look really weird on the TBR card because like there's so few of them. But as I said, this is the month of special editions, so of course we're gonna add another one to it. She's the one he's dreaming of. As a chronic procrastinator, Henry Turner always knew his junior year in college wasn't going to be easy. That was before he made ice hockey captain, as well as landing himself in a difficult class with his least favourite professor. Thankfully, it's then that Henry meets Hallie, a fellow junior who he immediately befriends. Academic pressure has never been a struggle for Hallie, but as an introverted people pleaser with a tendency to overcommit herself, she can't help but offer to help Henry pass his class. In turn, he offers to help make college life a little more inspiring, just the thing she needs as an aspiring novelist. Failure isn't an option for either of them, but that doesn't mean there isn't a little room for distraction. And last but certainly not least, you guys know I had to add in another cutesy read to break everything up, so I am continuing on with my absolute forever love of the Phantom Stallion series. It's a middle grade series. I've spoken about this before. I will not love these books. Like, these books are just perfect. It just like takes me back to my childhood of like being like a full send pony girl and like only reading pony books, to the point where like my teachers were like, you really need to read something else. I was like, no I don't, no I don't. And then I very quickly got into fantasy, and then that was the end of that, and here we are today. I am so excited because they have been republishing these books, so we've got all new covers. They are now coming out on Kindle. I'm so excited. I reread book one, and honestly it was like rereading it for the first time. Like that blessed thing that everyone wants, to like be able to like scrub your brain and read a book you know you love for the first time again. Like, it was that experience, because it has been that long since I read them that literally all I could remember was that we were following this girl, had a bad accident off of a horse, and then ends up going back to the family's ranch just before school. And honestly, that was about all I could remember. So it was like amazing getting to read it for the first time, and I was so nervous reading the first one because I didn't know if I was gonna actually love it and it was like actually really good, or if it was like the nostalgia was like, no, you remember this is like really good, and then I was like, please live up. And let me tell you, it lived up. So we are continuing the series. I think there's 24 in the series, so I'm gonna be here for a little while rereading all of these, but let me tell you, I'm not gonna change it for the world. Sam has befriended the mysterious, powerful Mustang known as the Phantom, and she's determined to defend his freedom on the open range. But when tame mares start going missing from local ranches, the Phantom becomes the #1 suspect, and there's one rancher who would use any excuse to capture the wild white stallion. When a reward is offered to anyone who can bring the Phantom in, Sam is no longer fighting for his freedom, she's fighting for his life. I can't remember if she goes back to school in this one. I think there's like a part where like maybe a little bit further along in the series where she does go back to school, and then there's like a whole like element of like her navigating school, as well as like basically trying to sort of like grow up emotionally and like become a young lady and this, that and the other. So like it's like middle grade, but it like later on in the series, like it kind of like edges into what we now know as YA. I think originally these were published like forever and a day ago. When were these originally published? I don't remember. When was the Phantom Stallion series originally published?
The Phantom Stallion series was originally published in...
Yeah, so the first book was originally published in 2002. I was really young when these came out. Oh my god. This is a series that just makes baby Annie's heart really happy, and I'm not gonna give it up, ever. Not even anytime soon, just like ever. I'm never giving this series up. I am gonna love it forever. And no one can stop me. So there we have it, the October TBR. We're waiting on a delivery. We've got some Kindle picks. I've just decided just to like really chill it out this month. Just like go with the mood reading, roll with the vibes. If I finish all of this, which I very much doubt I will, to be honest, because I know I've got a very busy month, then honestly we're probably just gonna go completely off-piste, lean into the mood reading, and just pick up whatever I fancy at whatever point in time. Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out with me. As always, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are honestly the best. So thank you so much for all of your support. I really appreciate you. Do go check out all of my links below. I've got socials, we've got my book, which let me tell you is the perfect time to read it because there's a little bit of mystery, there's a little bit of stuff to be figuring out. It's a fantasy with a little slice of romance in there, so if you haven't read it, now's your time, okay? But anyway, thank you so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!